There are a lot of myths and misconceptions in music production tutorials. One of those being that sidechain compression can solve every single issue with conflicting channels. Don't get me wrong, it is still a powerful tool for both mixing and adding that classic pumping effect, but it can actually make your sound weaker and stale. In this video, I'm gonna show you the dark side of sidechain, plus what you can do to make your sound more cohesive without clashing frequencies. Just to make it easier, let's use the most common example of sidechain compression: kick and bass relationship. For many of us, a go-to move is to apply compressor on bass and use kick as sidechain signal. The results are instantly noticeable, but as you start to think you solved the problem, you can hear the lack of bass in the whole mix. But why? It's very simple. Once the kick triggers the compressor to work, it ducks the volume of bass signal. Obviously, it gives the kick some space to breathe and cut through the mix, but making bass weaker in this spot. You can see this clearly once I will bounce out the bass channel with compression on. If you get the settings right, the attack of bass can still be present, but when it ducks the signal, it creates that weird weak spot. That's what Fox Stevenson, a great producer, called bow tie effect. If you get your sound selection and levels right, it may not be that big of a deal. But if you mix somebody else's music, they may not agree to change the kick or bass sound. In that case, sidechain is pretty much a band-aid that can lead you into some serious issues and struggles to bring the bass sound later on. Not to mention another thing: phase issues. If two sounds are interacting rhythmically, there is a risk of phase relationship become less present, and that can also lead into weaker sound. Some producers also use sidechain to distinct two melodic elements fighting for space with each other. It's not that bad of an idea, but you should always keep in mind that it's not a delicate effect. At the end of the day, if I would need to choose between super technical effect and saving the vibe of your track, I will choose the second one, or more transparent approach. Our plugin Fuser comes in clutch to deal with all of those issues. It also uses the sidechain technique, but instead of ducking the whole signal or a broad part, it takes care of frequencies that are really needed. I'm using the same kick and bass example, but now instead of compressor, I'm loading Fuser on bass track and selecting the same kick as sidechain source. A key thing to check is gain stage fix tab. If you use faders to level your sound, make sure to type in fader values accordingly. Let's start off by matching the volume of kick and bass by following gain match pointer. Now, let's move on to phase. You can fix it by clicking this button, which will analyze all possible rotations to come up with the optimal one for smooth blend. Chances are, after those two, you may not need to resolve frequency conflicts dramatically, but if there are still some areas glowing in red, simply click Resolve Conflicts button to create a suggested node. If you're wondering why it is better than regular sidechain compression, just keep in mind that at first we dealt with mismatched levels of kick and bass, then we eliminated phase issues, and finally removed clashing frequencies precisely. For comparison, here is the waveform with sidechain compression, and here is the one I came up with by using Fuser. The body is powerful enough to keep the power of bass, but it also allows for kick to breathe and blend smoothly. By any means, I'm not saying you should neglect sidechain compression and replace it with Fuser, although that would be great to hear that you use it on every single mix. Many EDM songs would not be the same without that classic pumping effect on bass, so it really all depends on your mixing workflow and the track you're working with. Even if you decide to go the classic route, Fuser can still help you and work like analyzer, and a hack to have phase and volume matching issues solved. You can try it out by visiting the link in description. If you learned something new today or you're just enjoying the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more on mixing, mastering and music production. Till the next time.